Welcome back to New Rockstars. Cable has arrived back into the universe of X-Men 97 and tried to warn us of the coming calamity, but it was too late. Cable, why couldn't you have time traveled back like an hour earlier before Rogue put on that fancy dress and we had this distracting dance and we were too enamored and too smitten and too horny to run for our lives? A Genosha massacre has happened and Cable has all the secrets. We're going to talk about Cable in this episode of The Sneak Peek, the weekly news show where we look ahead to the week in nerdy news. And I feel like a Cable episode is coming up on X-Men 97. I'm Erik Voss here to chat about X-Men 97 with co-host Jessica Clemons. Hey, Jess.
Hi. Very schmorny after that episode. Magneto knew what he was doing. So much was happening.
Do you think Magneto was in on this?
From the second episode, because that's when he officially was like, "Hello, my X-Men." I was like, he's up to no good. He's doing something bad. I think this is all he was using Storm as, unfortunately, just one of the people in the crossfire to prove that the humans are bad, and that the mutants are normal. And I was like, it's up to something. But then after Genosha, I was like, he cracked a lot of eggs. Cracked a lot of eggs to make this omelet. So I don't think he's up to anything anymore. But I do remember that Rogue says, you think, I don't know what you're up to. But I think it's more about her than it is about him being a terrorist.
Yeah, I think I don't want Magneto to be like an Ozymandias figure, as in like Ozymandias from Watchmen, that he kind of staged this whole false flag just because millions, or maybe up to 1 million, maybe like 875,000 died. One of the cities of Genosha was wiped out. A lot of people died. And I just don't want any of that blood to be on Magneto's hands. I know that he's pretty Machiavellian. I just don't think he would have killed that many mutants. That's his one thing.
No, that's too many.
You know?
That's too many. And then also, the Rogue was about to die in that. He almost killed Rogue if that was his plan. So I don't think it was. But I think in a universe, in a different timeline, maybe even Cable's one that Cable maybe has visited, he was the villain that did it.
Perhaps, yeah. So Cable said he is coming, and do we think he just genderized the Wild Sentinel, or is he saying that there is one particular mastermind? Is it Mastermind? I don't think it's Mastermind himself, but who's the he? Is it a different version of Charles Xavier? Is it Apocalypse? Is it Sinister? Who is it?
I think he had to. I mean, surface level, I'm like, he probably just gendered the 3-headed monster sentinel that drops baby sentinels out of its stomach. But then I'm also like, I'm really hooked onto the idea that this is not the first time Cable has interfered like this, and it just keeps happening. And maybe he wasn't expecting it to be like a 3-headed sentinel this time. He was like, "Oh, he's coming," and then he turns around and he's like, "Oh shit, it's a 3-headed sentinel."
I think what they're doing is they're gonna justify why Cable was there back in the season 1 episode 5 episode of Slave Island. At that point, they didn't really establish that Cable was going to be who he was. At least I don't think. Cable had a much bigger role in the X-Men animated series and later arcs, from Time Fugitives to One Man's Worth. He's a much more important character later on, but he was just randomly there on Slave Island, and I wonder if he went back too soon. He's like, maybe I can change something on Genosha, or I can prevent Genosha from being what it became and just keep all the mutants away from it.
Yeah.
They're going to explain that, is my theory.
100%. Do you think the next episode is going to be it picks up right when he got sucked back to his time?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be Life Death Part 2.
Oh,
so we're going to get some answers about Forge and Storm. Storm is now kind of dealing with the adversary and the adversary's bird form. But Forge, they gave us so many clues with Forge, with that picture with Dr. Gottfried Adler with his arm or Bastion's arm around him. And there's all these different players that have been put into motion who are involved with time travel. I mean, Forge is someone who exists in multiple eras of time. Bastion is someone who's part Nimrod, which is an advanced futuristic sentinel. And he's got that in his DNA. He's like an android that merged with the Master after mold and is now part of this Operation Zero Tolerance. I believe we did see Bastion walking around the gala when Magneto looked up. So I think Bastion was there. I think Forge is in play. Bishop is in play. Cable is in play. So time travel must be in play.
Yeah.
And Evan had this really fun idea that, you know, the fact that when we see Madeline Pryor get that psychic blast, it's pink. But then earlier in the episode, Jean Grey gets zapped and it's blue. And I think it's kind of this like gender reveal party color scheme of you have like baby Nathan Summers and then you have Rachel Summers in the future, and they're both trying to connect.
That's cute.
With their ancestors through these different color coded links. And that Cable, you know, when she put that image in his head after Madeline sent him into the future with Bishop, like it was blue colored. And I think he's always had that word remember in that memory in his head. He's always trying to connect with the past. And then we also heard that whole thing where in a past episode, she heard this voice and she heard the slow down Ace of Base song like it's freaking Inception. And it was all there. All the clues were there. And she's able to see through time with this kind of psychic link with Cable.
Oh, that's cute. I was just like, I think we talked about it on the sneak peek, or not sneak peek. This is the sneak peek. Oh my god, we talked about it on the after show that we were like, oh, it's probably the Phoenix Force searching for which one is the right gene, but it's trying to also Jean's not taking it in. She's like, it's too much in my mind right now. I'm too busy, and it's just like, let me in. You can defeat it if you let me in, and the Phoenix Force is just zipping around. It feels like that scene in Scooby-Doo, the first movie, where they all switch bodies and they're all their soul spirits are trying to find each other. I felt like that for me, but I like the idea that it's like Rachel and Cable being like, "We're dying. You're gonna die."
That first Scooby-Doo movie. You know who made that movie?
James Gunny.
It's crazy when you look at James Gunn's filmography. That guy was part of like every movie from like the 2000s. He wrote the script for Dawn of the Dead, directed by Zack Snyder. So everyone who hates James Gunn but loves Zack Snyder, the two made a movie together, and it was one of the best zombie movies ever.
Those that hate M. Night Shyamalan, remember that he did Stuart Little, and you love Stuart. Right. And you love Stuart Little.
You love Stuart Little. You may hate M. Night Shyamalan, but remember he did that, what's it called, Staying Awake movie, where as a little kid, I believe Rosie O'Donnell played a nun in it.
I did. Okay. First off, you lost me, but then you got me back at Rosie O'Donnell as a nun. In an M. Night Shyamalan movie. I perked up and I said, tell me more.
Tell me more. I think we got to do a rewatch series of everything M. Night Shyamalan did before The Sixth Sense.
Oh, God. Before The Sixth Sense?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No. I only say no because I'm not against it. I love M. Night Shyamalan, if you're listening. I'm a big fan. But, oh, God. His first works?
So you mentioned this great idea of the Phoenix Force, and that's kind of what is connecting Jean and Madeline through time. And I've loved this idea, and it returned to me when I did the X-Men rewatch series recently, that the Phoenix Force is this cosmic entity that is detached from time, and that you could make an argument when you watch Femke Janssen, Jean Grey in the Statue of Liberty battle in the first X-Men movie, that she like senses something in the future. Like she gets like this kind of sudden look of awareness. And it's like, is she kind of like sensing something through time in this moment? And I want that to be the case with the Phoenix Force. I want to be something that knows destiny, and that the Phoenix Force can be this kind of positive thing that is trying to preserve Jean and Madeline to help them withstand these like existential threats.
The whole thing is it has to show itself. And I'm not trying to say that like a lot of us know the Phoenix Force, a lot of us know and have seen it before, and but it's the fact that they're talking about it a lot and we haven't seen the show in like 30 years. And I'm like, okay, for someone that wasn't like alive for even the first season, I need you to show me the Phoenix Force. I need you guys, every episode, Madeline or Jean have mentioned how they had it. And I'm like, you guys have to show it. So they're going to get it at one point. And maybe that's what helps Genosha if Cable makes it back an hour ahead of time.
Yeah. I think like there's a lot to be learned about Cable. The fact that he got a techno-organic virus from Sinister instead of Apocalypse, but they showed him versus Apocalypse in the opening title sequence, that moment from the Time Fugitives episode where specifically Apocalypse stole that cube from his arm. And then that's the cube that Cable has in this episode. I feel like it's got to be attached to Apocalypse in some way.
You think Apocalypse is the one that led to the destruction of Genosha?
I think he's got to be involved.
Well,
I think he's on
yeah.
the rap sheet.
I think, well, the main reason I think he's involved is because you're not going to have him in the intro that many, like at the intro at all, and we're not going to be seeing him. Um, yeah, that makes sense. And then we just
I
kind
think
of
the
fade away
challenge.
from Mr. Sinister. I don't think it's Mr. Sinister at all, but I just like remember that Mr. Sinister kind of
See,
seeped into the shadows.
he did. I think he could be involved too, because they had the line in the promo where they were like, they changed it slightly, where he's like, "You have no idea what we have in store for the future," and it was like an alternate line from what was in Fire Made Flesh episode. Like, I think Sinister's involved. I just don't know how you do this without it being goofy, because they've done such a good job so far. Like, Sinister was creepy in episode
that's
3.
why I don't think he's involved with what this is, because it's all metal.
Yeah.
It's not him.
It's metal.
It's metal as hell. It's not him taking a baby arm and attaching it to a forehead. Like, he likes working with you. He likes working with people. He doesn't like working with. He's like, I'm better than this. My science is showing that I can create biology. But
yeah,
that's why I don't think it's him.
And that's kind of my hesitation with Apocalypse too. Is Apocalypse was super goofy,
but he hates.
He was a kid's villain, and I don't know how you do Apocalypse right in the version of the X-Men animated that they're doing here, which is so well written.
They do.
It feels scary. I trust them, but Apocalypse is also a guy who has a big A belt buckle.
They'll probably change it a little bit. Remember
right
how
over the dick.
Mojo changed. Mojo
did change. Mojo was still Mojo, but not as annoying, which I thought it could never happen. Mojo was annoying as fuck
loved Mojo
in the 90s show.
I loved Mojo in this.
Mojo was way better in this.
That's why I'm like, they might not make it as cartoony, but also having a villain that can just do a mass wipeout of so many people in a matter of minutes is already scary enough. If we don't see him till the end of the show, that's fine. He'll keep sending these like insane creatures that destroy 1 million people in a second. I think that's what makes him scary anyways. It's like the fact that he's doing it from afar. And he's successful.
This Genosha massacre is something that would fit Apocalypse's MO. He wants to kill humans and mutants alike, and I think he would hate this idea of just like a mutant utopia, because it's not just like, it's not what he imagined, you know?
I'm also not trying to be that asshole. It felt like how many people hate the mutants. It's surprising that it took that long for someone to show up and destroy that entire like location. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I was like, as soon as they showed up to the Capitol for Magneto sensing, there was like 1 million people there ready to kill everyone. And then I'm like, you guys just put a target on your back. If you're sending everyone to a location, like that location is gonna be destroyed. I hated this episode.
But you loved it. You just hated how it made you feel.
Oh my god, I was screaming at my damn phone. But also
you watch it on your phone?
Yeah, I watched it on the side so I can look closer at it. I don't have good eyesight, but also it's preparing me for what inevitably will probably happen to Wakanda. Not the people being killed, but like Wakanda being ripped from the ground. I'm preparing myself mentally for when Wakanda is destroyed.
Don't you dare. Oh god, they will.
Cable better get his ass there. I had Evan on the break room. I was like, can you tell me the distance between Genosha and Wakanda and how quick they both can be ripped apart? And he was like, Jessica, they'll both be fine.
Yeah. So two last questions. The first one is when Cable says, "I'm sorry, Mom," and gets sucked back into the portal. Was he voluntarily deciding to go back, or was something else pulling him back? Like, did he have a limited amount of time and then his time was up and then he got sucked back? Or was he just like, you know what? I'm going to decide right now, loop, and I'm going to loop back to an earlier time.
My bad. Zip.
Didn't work.
That would be so horrible to be like, my mom that I've heard my entire life and I'm a grown man. Deuces. Skeet. And then just fade into like an orb. That would be kind of cool. No, I think because of his you could hear his tech kind of talking to him that was like like no more resources. It said something much more better than what I just said. But I think it was just unlimited time, or not unlimited time. He was under a time clock, and it's probably a matter of like the technology is not fully set yet, because that's what Bishop was also dealing with. He was like, hey, I only have enough room for me and this infant. And now it's good to know that he's alive. He prospered as a human, half cyborg, but it's also like the tech isn't all completely there. It's not foolproof.
Right. Yeah. I think this is a piece of technology that Forge created, and Forge is like, this is as much time as you have.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks. And it might not even be a matter. I feel like he's just been doing this constantly, and eventually he'll get quicker with it and save us, and that will retcon what happened.
Yeah.
It better.
Well, so Jessica and I are going to talk about some highlights from CinemaCon this week, and if they changed our most anticipated movie rankings for the rest of the year. But real quick,
If somebody told you had to spend 8 hours a day wearing uncomfortable clothes, you'd tell them to get lost. So why would you spend 8 hours a day sleeping on anything other than the comfiest mattress you could find? Helix mattresses are so comfortable, and now you can get a Helix mattress for 20% off plus 2 free pillows. Helix offers 20 unique mattresses, including the award-winning Luxe and Ultra Premium Elite collections, Helix Plus for big and tall sleepers like myself, and the Helix Kids mattresses. Helix has a 100-night sleep trial, so you get more than 3 months to make sure that you love your mattress, and the Helix Sleep Quiz makes getting the perfect mattress just so easy. You just take the quiz and Helix finds the perfect mattress for you. I wanted a medium firm mattress with lumbar support that sleeps cool, and I got matched with the Dusk Luxe Helix mattress. I've had it for years and it's fantastic. I fall asleep so fast and I wake up feeling so much more rested than I used to. Owning a Helix mattress is just a major life upgrade. Helix delivers your mattress right to your door with free shipping in the US. The mattress comes rolled up in a box and is super easy to set up yourself, and it actually 100% is. Helix mattresses have a 10-year warranty, and with Helix's financing options and flexible payment plans, a great night's sleep is never far away. I love my Helix mattress, and I think you would too. If you're looking for a new bed, check out Helix Sleep, and you can click the link below or go to helixsleep.com/rockstars to get 20% off your Helix mattress plus 2 free pillows.
check out nerdriot.shop. We have some amazing X-Men themed merch options that directly support what we're doing here at New Rockstars, and including we got the Storm Heed My Command shirt. We got a Gambit shirt coming down the pipeline. There's so much that you can grab there. Nerdriot.shop, and I believe there's a new Break Room exclusive line of merch that you're going to want to get your hands on. Also, coming this week to New Rockstars, so we have a breakdown of the A24 Civil War film that I was able to see this week. It's going to be a controversial film, but we got a breakdown of it coming out tomorrow. We also have our breakdown of X-Men 97 episode 6. And it's hard now. We don't have screeners, so I believe our breakdown is going to come out on Thursday. We tried to get these out on Wednesdays. It's just really hard on us, so we want to take our time with. There's just so many Easter eggs. We thought it could be like other shows where we can kind of break them down faster, but we really want to like feast on these. So that breakdown will come out on Thursday. Jessica's going to be breaking down the full season of Fallout on Prime Video. That will come out this week. And then we have our first breakdown of the Fantastic Four series that we're doing, 2005's Fantastic Four, coming out on Saturday. So a great full week of New Rockstars videos. So make sure to subscribe to the channel.
I saw that movie in theaters.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, please. And she was like, fine.
Take me, Mom,
Please. I need to see the Fantastic Four. It's funny because I think I saw Chris Evans I was too young to be watching this movie. I had a TV in my room, not another teen movie. And then I saw him in Fantastic Four because I thought I was like, that's the guy that had a banana in his butt. And
you did, with the whipped cream on his chest.
And then I saw Fantastic Four and I was like, he did not have a banana in his butt, but he was on fire and it was very hot.
Yeah, he was.
Bye, Brandon.
All right, so on January 31st, Jessica and I shared our 5 most anticipated movies and 5 most anticipated TV series to drop in 2024. We kind of had to make some revisions because I thought Jordan Peele, when I shot this episode, thought Jordan Peele was going to have his movie come out in 2024. That changed after we shot it, so I amended it. But my top 5 movies were going from number 5. Number 5, A24 Civil War, the Alex Garland movie. And number 4, Pixar's Inside Out 2. Number 3, Furiosa, the Mad Max movie. And then number 2, Deadpool and Wolverine. And then number 1, Dune Part 2. And Jessica, do you want to go through your ranking on New Year's?
Yeah, mine was the best. Mine was better. Number 5 was Wicked, which will go up in my ranking. Number 4 was Beetlejuice 2. Oh, sorry. Should I say Beetlejuice?
Yeah, just don't say it a third time. I think you already did. Whoops. Oh, no.
No, there was a space in between. I said something. He took your shoes?
Yeah, I don't know why. He just took my shoes.
Oh, my shoes!
He goes, nice fucking shoes.
Nice fucking shoes.
He ran off with them.
Number 3.
Motherfucker.
Shut up. Nice fucking shoes. Number 3 is Deadpool 3. Number 2 is Dune 2. Oh, sorry. I
What?
freaked myself out by saying number 3 is Deadpool 3, and then number 2 is Dune 2, and then
Yeah.
number 1 was Joker 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I wanted to bring this up because we've seen some of these movies so
Mm-hmm.
far this year,
Oh
and we
yeah.
got a whole bunch of information about the rest of them at CinemaCon this week. We learned information about other movies that might not have been on our radar. So I wanted us to talk about how we feel about our ranking, and if we would change anything, because this is our most anticipated list. Do we expect this to match up with what we think will be our final top 5 films of the year after we've seen them?
I don't think so. At least for on my part. I think I like the Joker trailer. I think it's very fun. I love musicals. I think after Dune 2, Dune 2 is not my number 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's my
Not?
number 1. I'm sorry.
Oh, it is.
Deadpool 3 is probably my number 2 now. That trailer compared to the Joker trailer is insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
That trailer is too good. So I think my Deadpool is definitely at 2 now.
Yeah. So my list would change quite a bit. I think like Dune Part 2 is going to stay at the top of my list. I feel like that's going to be my favorite movie of this year.
Yeah, same,
It's going to be
same.
a lot to
I
dethrone
can't
it.
I can't change. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I don't know what that movie did something to me.
It's so good.
That movie did something to me.
I've seen trailers for Deadpool 3. I've seen Alex Garland's Civil War, and I've seen the first 35 minutes of Inside Out too. So I haven't seen anything from Furiosa. But I think like I would definitely want to add to my list 2 movies, Wicked and Alien Romulus. I think that trailer for
Mm.
Alien Romulus caught me completely by surprise, and that movie looks really good. I don't know where it would fit or what it would bump. I mean, I really liked Alex Garland's Civil War. It's just like for me, I know dystopian maps really well, and the movie, I wish it did more to explain the world that this movie's set in. But I understand that wasn't his objective with this movie. But it's very clear that Alex Garland is a British filmmaker who didn't grow up in the United States. Because if you're an American, you would not have had Texas and California join in a rebellious alliance against Washington, D.C. without a bit of exposition on why that's the case. Because
I
that is so insane to any American watching this movie.
I completely agree. I agree with you. Thoroughly, wholeheartedly. I think if I would have saw this movie, I wouldn't have thought that much about it. I wouldn't have thought too heavy on it. I remember
Yeah.
when I saw the trailer originally, I was like, "Oh, we team up with Texas? Okay. Maybe because we have the biggest populations or 2 of the biggest top populations, I guess." But then
Yeah.
when you broke down like the political parts of like why California and Texas, it makes no sense.
Never.
It's not coherent. We would never align. And I
If
was like,
yeah,
that
it'd be
makes
one
sense.
thing. If it were over immigration, I could see that. But in the map that they've shown, Arizona and New Mexico and Colorado are not part of the California-Texas
Mhm.
alliance. So if it were immigration, like the number one state that gives a shit about immigration is Arizona. Like
Yeah.
they're crazy about immigration in Arizona. They would absolutely join any alliance that were like anti-immigration in this country, or would just get riled up
Mm.
on either side of immigration. So that's why I'm
Maybe.
just like, it's not
Maybe that's what
immigration.
he was like, oh, people won't think about it too heavily, the political
Yeah.
part of it. But it is like it is sound that it's something that would have made that movie maybe juicier, knowing what we aligned with. Like what was
Yeah.
it that we were okay like together with.
Yeah, I just nothing. I think Alex Garland is one of our best filmmakers working right now, but it's one of these things where it's like it would have been different if Spike Lee made this movie, if
Ooh,
Spielberg made this
god
movie,
damn.
and
I wouldn't be I would never see it.
or Jordan Peele. If Jordan Peele made this movie, God, could you imagine? Like we need it's almost, I don't want to say it's offensive because I was not offended by this movie, but it's like, oh, it's clear that someone who has not been following US electoral politics that closely watched this. It's just clear that Alex Garland watched the January 6th events and we're like, oh, we're there right now. So let's just like heighten this a little bit and then just kind of like put a map up on screen and say this is what it is. And it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. But the way it's shot, shot with Kirsten
Mm.
Dunst, and it's kind of following them from a grounded perspective, and it's all really, really well told of a film. And I really love these kind of films. It's just like I didn't need to know. I mean, he should just said like the southeastern countries have formed this alliance and never show us a map, and I would have bought into this movie a bit more.
You are disgusted by this map. You're like,
it's just me. It's just me. Like I've spent
That's why
so
I'm
many
like, I don't
late
think I
night
would
deep
have like
dives
thought
looking
about
at
it.
maps. Like I've obsessed over the map of Handmaid's Tale, the map of Hunger Games, the map of Man in the High Castle, like fake electoral maps, like electoral maps for the West Wing, for Succession. I'd look at each state and I'm like, they were able to flip Vermont red. That's interesting. Like I
Well, for this, it
spend so
makes
much
sense.
time
I
thinking about this.
understand it. I would have probably been like, oh, this makes it deeper and it actually brings a lot more to like the plot. And I actually like this. I don't know. Alex Garland, he burned me with Men. So I my teeter on trusting him is very uneven.
You know what's crazy is this movie's supposed to be kind of like a sister film to Men.
That's probably
Like
why I'm not
it's
gonna go see it.
maybe set in the same universe as Men. I might be wrong about that.
I'll throw myself through the IMAX screen.
Can I ask you, was there any movie at CinemaCon this week where you were like, I wasn't interested, but now I am?
Mufasa? No.
Mufasa!
I
Mufasa!
No, stop it.
That's what it's called.
It's not called it. If you show me a photo where you like scribbled in preview Joe above the Mufasa part, no, Mufasa coming out in December. That movie, quick and wild.
Yeah.
Scar better be as cunty as Magneto, and that's all I have to say. And that's all I have to say on that.
Oh
No.
my god. Yeah, I want Scar. I want like a sassy, mean Scar.
It better be the meanest Scar. I need to look at the cast came out, the list and all the stuff, and I was like, oh, I need to go look at the person that's playing young Scar. CinemaCons, no, just the stuff about Brave New World, dude. Just the Brave New
Brave
World
New
stuff.
World looks really cool.
Just the Brave New
Does
World
look-
stuff. I was like, because I
Yeah.
need it. We didn't get any updates. We have not heard anything.
I'll say that like the Joker trailer was almost exactly what I expected.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing. I have high hopes for that movie, but it is like it's not gonna be for everybody. I think it'll be for me though.
It's for me. Oh, it is 100% for me. It's disgustingly for us. But the trailer, it was exactly what I expected. And I was like waiting for the like, but I was like, no, this is exactly what I was thinking it was gonna be.
You know what's hard about it is like I can totally get on board for a musical. And there's some shots in this trailer that look like the 2002 Chicago film, the Bob Marshall, Renee Zellweger, classic. What I think the last movie that was a musical to win Best Picture, unless I'm mistaken. And I'm like, what a brilliant idea to satirize the judicial system and just show how like Joker and Harley Quinn can turn it into this 3-ring circus and get off just by like getting a mistrial or something like that.
That is fun.
Awesome. But you don't see Joaquin Phoenix doing anything like Fred Astaire-esque in the trailer. He's not a musical guy. And you see him on stage doing some musical thing, like this kind of like Tobey Maguire snapping, from Spider-Man 3. And I'm like, I don't see Joaquin Phoenix doing that. I feel he's just going to do his kicks, his Gary Glitter kicks. And that's about it.
The kick homage. I also think what they did with the trailer was kind of, and I don't know if they did this on purpose. There's a lot of stuff that we did see behind the scenes that was like people taking shots of them running down the street in Los Angeles and stuff. And they that's those stuff that the behind the scenes photos that people got is in the trailer. And I was like, oh, okay. And I think that's why I wasn't so like blown away. I was like, oh, I've seen this. I saw him running down the street chased by a man that looks exactly like him. I saw them walking down the steps. I saw them kicking. And now I'm like, oh, okay, that's all of our system. In the movie, we'll see a bunch of parts that we haven't seen from the trailers and the BTS scenes. But yeah, I'm so excited.
I think if there's one other movie that like it was not on my radar, it's What We've Learned About Gladiator 2.
Oh, yeah.
That movie's gonna be crazy, but the cast is so good, and the character descriptions, and I'm like, holy shit, this could actually be really good.
Yeah, the cast is really good. The idea is really weird. I don't know.
Oh, it's super weird.
But also to be fair, I haven't watched Gladiator since 2001. So it's been a long time, but it was a staple in my my house. So my mom made us watch it a lot. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna go see it. Not getting my hopes
just
up.
a description from CinemaCon. Paul Mescal plays a nobleman who has renounced his privilege and is inspired by Maximus. It's set 20 years after the first film. Pedro Pascal plays a Roman general who's forced to become a gladiator after he wanted to stop sending men to war. Denzel Washington is a shadowy operator manipulating everything. Joseph Quinn is Emperor Caracalla. And then we're gonna see Pedro Pascal and Paul Mescal facing off in the arena. And then this is gonna be like the late stage Roman Empire that has some crazy shit in the arena, including man-eating monkeys, a charging rhino, and sharks. Sharks.
You know, it's gonna be funny, that reveal that they throw sharks like in the sand, and then they just are flapping around, and they're like, "Well, we thought this was gonna be much more scary. Now kill the shark." I'd be like, I'm walking out of this theater. Stop it!
That's what they do, because they have dead eyes and they just can open their mouth open and shut. They can't smile. Like,
your impression of a dying shark.
I'm ancient.
I'm ancient.
I can't move too well because someone took my fucking shoes, Beetlejuice. Sorry. He did. He's not going to give them back, too. He's going to say, "Oh, bring them back."
He's not an elf.
They'll be all caked in mud. I'm like, "Where'd you go hiking in Laurel Canyon in these?" He's like, Diamond Canyon. After a rain shower, Beetlejuice? And he's like, "What? It's muddy."
You're an insane person. I think the Joker trailer changed you.
One.
Or did Civil War change you? Which one?
I think both. It changed me, and then Civil War changed me back. Should we end with a brief segment of what we're watching?
What we're watching? I'm watching Fallout. Go figure.
Yep, it looks so good.
Just Fallout, right? Damn,
I'm gonna watch it. We're taping this on Thursday, so I think by the time this comes out, I will have watched at least most of the episodes.
It's very fun. It is a very fun show. And I'll be honest, I was one of the people that was kind of skeptical and talking shit, because I don't trust Amazon Studios adapting video games because they haven't really done it, and their video games aren't really the greatest. So I was like, I don't know how they're going to handle this. And I really like the approach that they're handling it, like The Boys, like Invincible. Like, this is another like kind of a hero show, just not superhero, but they're just heroes still in their own ways. And it's violent and so much fun. It's like Twisted Metal funny with The Boys violence.
Cool.
And it's so fun. It's so good. And they also, side note, this isn't the breakdown, but they blow out their world just like The Boys do. So you can go to Amazon Prime's YouTube page and listen to their podcast from one guy that's in the bunker in the vault, and he's losing his mind. And it's like hour-long episodes of this man being like, "Well, I hope I don't die down here." And he talks about like what's happening around him. It's insane.
Wow. I gotta check. I'm so excited for this. What we have been watching this week is The Traitors.
Oh my god! My friend was the casting person for Traitors. She casted
can you yell at your friend for casting stupid ass Kate from Below Deck?
Okay, I'll tell her that. But Sandra's on it from Survivor, and I love her.
Okay, so I've only seen season 1. We just finished season 1, and it has some people from Survivor. It has some people from Below Deck. It has some people from Big Brother, but season 2 has people from The Challenge in it. It has Johnny, Bananas, and CT, and I'm really excited.
You and the damn Challenge.
It's good. I'm
not watching that damn show.
Oh, you gotta watch it. We watched the UK Traitors, which is total, like, it's almost the exact same show when it comes to challenges and everything. Like, they didn't even bother coming up with different challenges for the American version. It's like watching the British The Office with Ricky Gervais and then watching the American pilot, and you didn't even come up with like different stuff for it. But I prefer the UK version of it, because like they're so sincere and they're crying all the time, and they really
not in America.
And they care so much. And I was hoping, okay, I've had enough of these softies in the UK. I want to get to these cutthroat Americans.
No.
And then it went too far, because Kate's just like, "I'm done. I'm over it. I'm better than this show." And I'm like, I hate watching people play games and they're not committing to the game.
I'll tell you
the rage
what.
in my heart.
When it comes to reality TV, maybe it's soft to watch the British version, but the British version is very fun. And it's not as like, it's aspirational. Like, you're like, "Oh, I could do this. People are being nice." That's why I watch the Great British Baking Show. You will never catch me watching a Gordon Ramsay show with that bald head guy that loves to talk shit. And I haven't seen him make anything since fucking 92. So how about that?
You talking about MasterChef?
Yes.
Gordon Ramsay's like the nicer one of that group, which
Yes,
is so
that's
weird.
insane. Have you ever
Yeah.
watched Simon Cowell and been like, why is he the nicest person in the room? That's what it feels like with Gordon Ramsay.
It does.
And
It
he's
just
also
looks weird.
British. So why you came from the nicest state or the show for people cooking? I don't know. It's
But the thing about Gordon Ramsay is like Hell's Kitchen is what he was like most famous for among American TV audiences, but that's not like why he's where he's at. Like the guy is really an expert at cooking, and the thing about him is I believe he goes hard against people who claim to be executive chefs and are paid huge salaries and supposed to have gone to like culinary training. And if they're bad at their jobs, he's like, then why do you have this title? It means you're a con person who is like tricked a family member into giving you an executive chef position at their restaurant. And I'm going to call you out on it because you shouldn't have this status. And I'm like, okay, I get that. But when you watch him with kids, he's just like, he's so sweet with kids, and he's just so delighted to see kids who want to learn cooking in the culinary arts, and he's so encouraging and sweet.
I'm not a kid, Eric. I'm a grown woman that just has a dream of making beignets.
Nope. It's too late. You should have done that when you were 16.
He's gonna be like, ew, what the fuck is this?
Too late. It's too late. This garbage. He'll spit it out.
What a fucking idiot.
Your beignet sandwich, and I'll squeeze them on either side of your head.
I'm like, you're messing my wig up. Also, I wanted to add, you said The Office, the British Office, when we like took it word for word. You know what other show did that no one knows about? Is That 70s Show. They made a British version of That 70s Show that went on for maybe like 2 or 3 episodes, did not go long, and it's word for word the same kind of scripts. And that's why I didn't go further, because it was so bad. They were like, oh, this doesn't really play here like it does in America because the jokes aren't that funny here. But then on top of that, you guys did the exact same like script. Sorry, That 70s Show.
I gotta go find this.
Go look for it. I watched like 1 episode on like YouTube. You can find it. It's not hard to find.
Well, I can't wait to find it. All right, we'll leave it there for this episode of The Sneak Peek. Huge thanks to Jessica Clemons for joining us, as always. And let us know in the comments below what you were most excited to see from CinemaCon this week, because there's a lot of interesting news that came out of it. Be sure to follow Jessica at Lulu_Clemons. Follow me at EA Voss. Subscribe to all 3 channels of the Rockstars Network, and support us by grabbing something from merch store at nerdriot.shop. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Have a great week.